What do y'all think of the Micah Parsons to the Packers trade? I will be talking about that trade, who the Cowboys paid on defense after the trade, NFL rankings before the season starts, college football upsets, the LA Sparks, can they make a run for the playoffs with little time left, and other NFL news. Now let's start with the Cowboys-Packers trade of Micah Parsons. Did both teams win, lose, one team win, one team lose, so forth? As usual, maybe only time will tell, but looks like, we could say, or I could say, the Packers won. I can see it as a win-win for both, but I still think the Packers won, even with trading their defensive player, Kenny Clark. If the Packers would have kept Clark, then I would have said Green Bay easily won. Cowboys traded Micah Parsons to the Packers, and the Cowboys get defensive player Kenny Clark, a 2026 and 2027 first-round pick. Also, what I saw recently is, according to an article from NFL.com, is Micah Parsons has an L4, L5 facet joint sprain. I am deciding not to do a deep dive into this and what it means for both teams. And like I said, only time will tell who won the trade, especially with that, if it was Green Bay or the Cowboys. Micah Parsons is going into his 5th year and has double-digit sacks in each of his seasons so far. I would say that's pretty impressive. The Cowboys already lost DeMarcus Lawrence to the Seahawks, who is, can we say, a Cowboy legend and great. Now you lose Parsons. They did get Clark, which is a household name. And if the Packers would have kept Clark with Parsons, as mentioned, they would have won that trade just super easily. Because let's not forget, the Packers lost their defensive player, who I think was their best, in Jair Alexander, to the Ravens. So yeah. Now Parsons is their best player, at least defensively. Jerry Jones, what are you doing, bro? Your offense will be fine with the offensive line and receiving core and quarterback. And the 2 running backs you got, you know how to prove themselves. Again. But now your defense is, who do you have? Only person I can think of is Trayvon Diggs when he had that year with crazy interceptions, but since then, I don't know. There is one person who has been making a name for himself, and you paid him instead of Parsons? Why? And yes, I know I didn't say his name above there, but don't think he's their best player. DaRon Bland of the Cowboys, he gets paid. If you can pay him, why not pay him and Micah? I feel like this defense is going to suck. Parsons has 52.5 sacks in his first 4 seasons in the league. He has 172 solo tackles, 84 assisted, 63 tackles for loss, and 112 quarterback hits. Let's not forget, this is only in 4 seasons. He hasn't been in the league more than 5. That's just crazy. Just by the stats alone, if I didn't know who he was, I'd say he gets to the quarterback a lot, and he finds the ball quickly to make the play or the tackle. Now, what the Packers are getting in Clark, I think I'm supposed to say what the Cowboys are getting in Clark, is similar, except he has less sacks in more years in the NFL. Clark has 35 sacks in 9 years, 236 solo tackles, 181 assisted, 76 quarterback hits. Based off numbers with the players traded, I'd say the Packers won the trade, even with trading 2 first-round picks. Because remember, Green Bay did make the playoffs last year with a team that's defense was whatever, and they proved me wrong. And their offense had lots of different receivers, yet they still made the postseason. Parsons' deal is 4 years, $188 million, with $136 million guaranteed, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in the league at $47 million per league, according to an article from NFL.com. Also, this deal comes after Trey Hendrickson, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, and Max Crosby, all defensive players, all signed extensions this offseason. The question is there another standout rusher looking to get paid? The only player I could think of is Lions defensive star Aiden Hutchinson, and yes, he did get injured last year and missed most of the season. But I do think he's on his rookie contract. I did not look it up, so I don't know. I forgot to look up. I apologize. And then Deron Bland, like I said, they paid him. They paid him 4 years, $92 million extension. So why couldn't they pay Bland and Parsons? Who knows? Staying in defense, but moving over to the AFC. Jabril Peppers is no longer with the New England Patriots. As a fan, I think this is dumb because you are putting Kyle Duggar in the second team, then cutting Peppers. I know Christian Gonzalez is a good defensive player and cornerback for them, but now who's going to help him in the secondary? Peppers has the experience, and he's been in the league for a while. Last season, in 2021, I believe, I forgot to put the 2 if that was it, were the only times Peppers did not play in double-digit games. He does have 331 solo tackles, 180 assisted, 15 quarterback hits, and 7 interceptions. I think that was supposed to say 2021. ProFootballReference.com will have the correct one. So I believe it's 2021. I'll have to double check that. On the offensive side of the ball, though, the Panthers do end up keeping one of their receivers in Hunter Renfrow. And this is after trading Adam Thielen to the Vikings. I'd say it's a good move for Carolina with their young receivers, as Renfrow is a veteran, but he's still young. And it should be able to help the young receivers and even Bryce Young at quarterback. It's been a minute since Hunter Renfrow has played. He's last played in 2023. However, from 2019 to 2023, in his 5-year career before returning to the NFL, he had 269 catches off of 363 targets for 2,884 yards and 17 touchdowns. It doesn't seem like a lot, but for his targets, it seems like he catches the ball more than he doesn't. So I'd say that's pretty efficient. The Panthers do have him who can be reliable and help out the other young receivers. Another receiver who signed with a different team but NFC this time, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and in an NFL article he explains why he signed with the Niners, not the Steelers. I'm not really going to go over that. I'm just going to say how he'll benefit the Niners. I would say either team can use him, more so in the current than in the short term, the 49ers, and long run, the Steelers. The San Francisco does need receivers, with all theirs injured and suspended for a few games. Scantling, or MVS, he's a deep threat, and I think he can go in the slot. He's 6'4", so he has the height to be able to get the ball at the high point, and he has been in the league and played with the Chiefs and Packers, Bills, and Saints. With running back Christian McCaffrey being able to run the ball, catch the ball, it would open up the play action. Scantling could be the player down the field deep. And this is what I think the starting lineup for receivers for the few first weeks could be for San Francisco. Is you could have Ricky Pearsall, who is originally number 3, be the number 1 receiver. And the number 2, number 3 could be MVS and Sky Moore. In either order. Then when the receivers who are either injured, suspended, or for whatever reason are not playing at the moment, come back. Pearsall move back to number 3 receiver. unless he's balling out as the wide receiver 1, while Scantling and Moore have to fight to keep wide receiver 2 and 3 spots. However, in the long term, the 49ers needed help, and they got it well, and at least Scantling and Moore would probably need to prove himself. But by being in the league, he's an athlete. He does have 205 catches from 414 targets. I don't see any touchdowns on ProFootballReference.com. Last season he played 6 games with the Bills, 8 with the Saints. So these stats are for Scantling. According to StatMuse, he has scored 20 touchdowns in his career. Ooh, excuse me. Also, according to the ESPN, the Texans may get one of their defensive players back in C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Their defense, with or without him, will be good. The only question to me is their offensive line. I know I keep saying it, and I do think with their division, if Stroud can be protected just enough, they can win the division again, but they would struggle in the playoffs. Overall, I would say they have a complete team, and the only struggle is their O-line. Of course, this will play a factor into my rankings. And then speaking of rankings, how I come up with them, I'll tell you if you're wondering. There really isn't any set scale. There kind of is, but there isn't. Except just what I think. It's a mix of how the teams did last season, the trades they made, signings they made, players that are no longer with the team, or new players and records. For the rankings before the season starts, what I did was pick wins and losses for each team, and that's how I got their overall record. I may change some of those games. Then I put them in order from best record to worst. Then after that, I move them around to what I think, even if their record is worse than someone else, I may have moved them up because I think they will do better this year than that team, and same with moving the team down, but do worse than that team. Some teams with household names, I am going to put lower. Rankings are in what I think and by what I saw last season in the eye test. I did rank all 32 teams. I'll go from top to bottom, as in number 1 to number 32. So if your team's in the top 10, you'll most likely hear it if you made it this far. If they're from 11 to lower, you'll have to listen more, or I'll post it on social media as well. In some of these rankings, I moved some of the teams last night, and some were pretty hard. Made a difficult choice, but it's what I did. So I'll do the first 16, and then I'll do the second 16. And then at number 1 overall in my rankings, I put the Washington Redskins because I keep saying they'll win the Super Bowl, and they keep doing good with their moves in the offseason. And these rankings, of course, are based off if everyone stays healthy, because even with injuries, it is a sport. You could be a team that makes it that you didn't think because they stay healthy, even though they may have not made it. Then at number 2, I have the Baltimore Ravens, which actually shocked me. Not like shocked that I'm that high, but because I didn't have them making the Super Bowl. But now I can see that just because their defense and their offense isn't that bad either. You got Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, Hopkins joined them. Got a pretty balanced attack. Number 3 are the Los Angeles Rams. Reason are there is they have a young defense that proved me wrong last year. Pretty good to make the playoffs. And then they got Devontae Adams, obviously, with Puka, even though they got rid of Kupp. You still have Stafford. Even with his, I don't want to say injury or pain going on, still pretty good. And their backup is Jimmy Garoppolo. So stay there in good hands. Then you got the Buffalo Bills at 4, who made moves on defense. At 6 are the Pittsburgh Steelers, also making moves on defense and offense. 6 are the Cincinnati Bengals. We already know what their offense can do. Their defense is kind of the question mark, but also they might have somewhat of a defense. At 7 are the Minnesota Vikings. Mainly because of their defense, and yes, they did good last year, but now same offense, just different quarterback, so let's see what happens. Then at 8, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who just keep winning their division, just kind of like the Texans keep winning theirs. Can they do that, or will someone in the NFC South dethrone Tampa? Then the defending champs, yes, I had them at 9, which is not 1, and sometimes people rank the defending champs at 1. I just don't think they're that high. They are in the top 10 still. I just don't think they're number 1 because they did get rid of some of their. Yes, they have their defense, but they got rid of a few players too, and they still have some of their good players. Offense is still the same, which will be fine. Their defense to me is the question mark. Then this one was really hard. I didn't have the Chiefs at 10, but I moved them, Chargers, Packers, and Broncos around between 10 and 13. I think I had the Chiefs at 13 originally, and I looked at the depth charts on ESPN.com, and just what I saw offensively, they have Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster, Xavier Worthy, Pacheco, quick, speedy people. You still have Patrick Mahomes, Kelsey, and for the defense, they have pretty much the same defense and names that I forgot were household and made a name for themselves, and consistent, reliable defensive players that are still there. Now at 11 in the same division are the Los Angeles Chargers, which their offensive line, even with missing Slater, should still be good. I agree with that, where I saw an article as well, but I agree with that. And their defense did do good well last year, so let's see how they do it this year. Packers at 12. Now they have Parsons, even without Clark. Denver Broncos at 13. They took the Niners defense, we can just say. We just call them the San Francisco Broncos. Then New England Patriots at 14, making moves on defense. Kind of the same offense. You got Stephon Diggs, who's a one receiver from the Bills. So we'll see how that goes with Drake May. At number 15, the Las Vegas Raiders. Their defense, they don't really have a lot, I think. They kind of have decent people. Their offense, they got rookie running back Ashton Genty. They got Geno Smith they signed. Coach Pete Carroll, who I would say he knows what he's doing. Speaking of Pete Carroll's former team, is number 16, Seattle Seahawks, because they got Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, and Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker, and they got Dexter Lawrence on defense and others. So those are the top 16 teams of my ranking so far. If your team has not made it so far, that means they're in the bottom. So you as a listener, just wait. Now the Bears, I put at 17. And it's weird, when I did their record. Their record came as a losing record, but I expect them to make the playoffs. So I don't know what happened there. The Lions I put at 18 because they still have a good offense and defense. So their team is still good. The only reason they're that low is just because they lost their offensive and defensive coordinators to the Bears and the Jets as head coaches. So I don't know how the team's going to work without them. We'll see. At 19 are the Atlanta Falcons. Offensively, with Kirk and Michael Penix, we know what they can do. Defense will have to, prove itself. Then at 20 are the Houston Texans. I had them there because their defense should be one of the top defenses. It's just their offense, as in their offensive line, because they lost Tunzel to the Redskins. We'll see how that goes. They might prove me wrong. They might not. The Miami Dolphins are at 21. Tua's back. We'll see what he can do with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle and Devin Achane. Then at 2022, ranked at number 22 are the San Francisco 49ers. Their offense should be fine. As you know, they just got Brian Robinson Jr. from the Redskins. It's their defense that they all left to different places, like the Broncos and other places. That's their question mark to me, even though I believe they did bring back Robert Saleh, who's a defensive coordinator. He should help with their defense. Just they don't really have many household names anymore. At 23 are the Dallas Cowboys. We all know why they're there, because they traded away Micah Parsons. Their offense I still feel will be fine. It's just their defense is the question mark there. Arizona Cardinals are behind them at 24. Jaguars are at 25. They didn't do that good last year, but then like a few years ago they made the playoffs and destroyed the Chargers. So can they go up? Will they stay here? Will they go down? Who knows? At 26, I have the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, improving last season. Then you got a receiver in McMillan. As I mentioned earlier, they signed Renfro. Number 27 are the New York Giants, who have 3 quarterbacks that probably can all be starters in Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and rookie Jackson Dart. So we'll see what happens there. Don't know why they took that many good caliber quarterbacks. That's probably the best part of their offense. At 28, they took the first pick overall. It's the Tennessee Titans. At number 29 are the New York Jets. At number 30 are the Indianapolis Colts. At number 31 are the Cleveland Browns. Yes, I know their defense is They do have Joe Flacco on offense, and they lost Nick Chubb. They got some rookie running backs, so we'll see what happens. And the Saints, yes, even though their defense, I would say, is one of the top defenses by household names, just their offense, they got some receivers. The question mark is at quarterback, and that's what you need. So we'll see how Rattler does. Will Spencer Rattler rattle this season? Who knows? I might have said that last time too. Who knows? Also, college football is back, and we already had upsets. Some of them were Boise State got upset, Colorado got upset, and Texas. Georgia Tech is known, at least to me, for completing upsets, even when they're ranked. In this game, their opponent was not ranked in Colorado, but because their coach is a household name, I wouldn't expect them to win. But they did upset Colorado 27-20. However, Colorado didn't do horrible. They still had a chance to win the game. Also, the defending champions, Ohio State, are ranked number 3. They beat the number 1 ranked Texas team. And I don't know why Texas is ranked number 1 when they didn't win the national championship and Ohio State did. It just doesn't make sense to me. The only reason I can think Texas is ranked 1 is just because of a name in Arch Manning. LSU, ranked number 9, also beat Clemson in what I saw was another good and close game. Speaking of good and close games, from what I saw, number 10 Miami beat number 6 Notre Dame. Kansas State avoided going 0-2 on the season by escaping the University of North Dakota, only winning by 3 points. And Alabama could be the new college team, at least, or it could be everyone's fan favorite to hate on, as they lost to Florida State. South Carolina University held on to win by 2 scores against Virginia Tech. Lastly, the Los Angeles Sparks, going in the WNBA, are 2 games away from a 500 record, and there are 6 games left. I'd say they need to win all to make the playoffs, and the Valkyries, Fever, and Storm need to lose in order for the Sparks to make the playoffs. It's mathematically possible, but will it happen? The Sparks started to get hot in the right time, then hit a roadblock and need to step it up again. They did win against the Mystics and currently sit in 9th at 18-20. Thank you for listening to the Corbin Report. Comment below your thoughts on the NFL rankings below and for future topics you'd like me to discuss. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, follow the Corbin Report's Facebook page, also follow on Instagram and Twitter. Thank you guys again. Bye-bye.